She became my personal shopper. I'm like, what do I buy? What do I get? She goes, can I shop for you? I'm like, yeah, I feel like a celebrity. It just shows up at my house. But I tried it on, and these pants are freaking amazing, right? And this isn't part of my talk, I'm just going. So yesterday, I live in Philadelphia, so I'm going to the airport and I wear these pants, and as I'm leaving, my husband's like, wow, those pants look great. My mother-in-law, those pants look great. And I get to the airport and I'm like, I better change and wear these tomorrow because I will spill something on them on the plane and ruin my opportunity to wear these pants today. So I love the gear, this is amazing, and now you have a new customer out of it. So before I get into everything here today, that song that just played, when that song first came out, the Brendan Urie version, it's Panic at the Disco. When that song first came out, my husband goes, that's your walkout song. Like, that's it. He was the one that coordinated all of that because he goes, it just makes so much sense for you. So I'm a mindset coach. I wasn't always a mindset coach. Mindset was like my worst thing ever. And that's why you get good at your worst thing. And then you teach it to others. So the reason is like Elsa to me is the greatest freaking character that is out there. So Elsa in the first Frozen movie, you're all moms, right? A lot of you. You all know Frozen. I have 2 kids. So in the first movie, she can't figure out her powers. She can't figure out, like, I have all these gifts and all of this energy and I can't figure it out. And you know what made her figure it out? Love. She put love at the center of herself, and that's how she figured it out. And then in the second movie, she had all these thoughts going through her head, and she heard these voices. But those voices, she's like, I don't want to listen to them. I can't hear them. And then she was compelled to follow them. And guess what? It led her to her destiny. It led her to exactly why God created her to be. So my talk today is titled Into the Unknown, because that's where I want to take you in the next hour that we have here together. I want to take you into that unknown part of your mind that is blocking you from freaking blowing up this business. How many of you are like, if I could just get out of my own way, I know I can do this. I know I can make this happen, but there's something that there's a mindset struggle. There's something that's blocking me. Show of hands. Okay, and if you're not, you're lying. Put your hand up. Because that's what is happening. There is something in your mind that is stopping you. But when it comes down to it, it's just a thought. It's literally a thought. And if you can be strong enough and powerful enough to create a negative thought that is blocking you, guess what else you can do? You can create a positive thought to change that one, to create different actions and different results in your life. So, it's on this side. I was like, come on, Mike, make it work. So before I get into everything, I have a few disclaimers. Yes, I come with disclaimers. Number 1 disclaimer is, and you 2 over here know this one, they're clients of mine that drove up from Kenosha to be here today to meet me in person. It's awesome. But I'm known to make people cry. I don't do this on purpose, and I used to apologize for it. However, what I realized was I've become good at creating a safe space that allows you to really think about what's going on, to acknowledge what's going on, to feel what's going on, and then you can deal with it and heal from it. And that's what I feel is my superpower, is really just creating a safe space for you to go inward. Number 2, sorry, but I feel like it fits in here. I sometimes use sentence enhancers. Does anybody know what a sentence enhancer is?
I do.
She said, fuck yes.
Did she say, fuck yes, I do?
Okay, so I gotta say, I walked in today. I literally walk in, and I need a sip of water here. Yep, where's she at? I walk in, and she goes, oh, fuck, you're Megan. And I was like, oh, these are my people. This is good. I can make this work. This is awesome. So I had this whole thing, like the reason that I use swear words is like the past couple of years, I worked really hard on just being authentically me. For so many years, I always tried to be what other people expected me or what I thought was expected of me. I tried to be this other person. But for the past how many years, I'm like, you know what? I just want to be authentically me. And authentically me comes with swear words, damn it, okay? And I don't do it to offend anybody, just so you know. I've been in other audiences, and I always say in my disclaimers, I don't do it to offend anybody. If you want to be authentically you, do what's you, and that's what's me. So the past, I would say, couple of years, 8 years, I've worked really a lot on my mindset. The past 2 years, it was in January of 21, I was sitting in my office, and I had this feeling come over me, and I started to bawl. I just started to almost like it came from the depths of me. It was like my soul was crying. I was sitting in my office, and I was like, oh shit, I know what I have to do. I know what I have to do. I know what I have to do. I don't want to do it. This is going to be really hard. But I have big dreams. Does anybody else have really big dreams for their life? Put your hands up. That one, everybody, put your hands up. I have really big dreams and goals for my life. And then something happens when you cross that 40 mark. You're like, oh, I really got to make this happen now. So I was like, I know where I want my life to go. I know what I need to do, but I also know there's a distraction in my life. And in order for me to get to where I want to go, I have to eliminate this distraction. And I was scared because this distraction had been with me my entire life. The distraction I started when I was 18 years old, and that was drinking alcohol. My father is a functioning alcoholic. I grew up around it. I grew up in Northeast Ohio in a small town, country girl, that's who I am. And I grew up around alcohol. It was just normal. That's what everybody did. And so I got to a point, and it wasn't that it was ruining my life. It wasn't ruining my work. It wasn't ruining my marriage. I just knew that if I wanted to get to where I see myself going, I have to eliminate a distraction, because I also knew that my new life was going to cost me my old one. The change is hard, especially when Friday nights, my husband and I would have Prosecco Fridays, and we would sit at our island when the kids go to bed, and we would drink Prosecco and talk about our dreams, what we want to accomplish, what we want to do, where we want to travel. But we talked. We talked for years. The talk can only go so far. So I had this moment, I'm crying, and I'm like, it almost felt like God tapped my shoulder, and he's like, Megan, it's time. So I was so nervous to tell my husband that I wanted to take a year off of drinking. And I was like, I didn't know who I was going to have to become in order to do that, because it's just always been part of my life. Like, what do you do with your hands at 7 o'clock on a Friday night when you're not drinking? Like, what do you do? I don't know. So it took me 3 days to tell him, and I sat down with him, and I was like, Nick, I really think I want to take a year off of drinking. And this is 21. This is right after the pandemic, when everyone's laughing. Yeah, we all drank more during the pandemic. Like, let's just say what it is. So this is at the end of January, and we always did dry January. So I was already not drinking in the month of January. And I said, Nick, I think I'm going to take the entire year off. And he's supportive, but he pushed back. That's why we work. He was supportive, he pushed back, and he said, can you do it? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. And he's like, we have all these trips planned this year that got postponed from the year before. You have your best friends turning 40, and you have a girls' trip to Florida. Can you do it? Because one of the things in our household that's really, we try to ingrain in our kids and how we do things is there's two parts. When you make a decision, so many people make decisions, and you can see it in the gyms in January. People make decisions, but they don't do the second part of it, and the second part is called commitment. So commitment is doing what you said you would do long after the mood in which you said it in has left you. And that's where people fail. Oh, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to build this business. I'm going to do this. And then when it comes time to doing it, you don't feel like doing it. So we just forget about it. And like, nobody really knows. So my husband's like, can you make the commitment to do it? Because you can't put this out there and then not do it. All right, I'll try till March. That was my response. My birthday's March 8th. I was like, okay, I'll try till March. I made it till March. Awesome. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make it till July 4th. I made it till July 4th. Okay, I can do this. I'm going to make it till the end of the year. It now has been, I haven't had a drop of alcohol since January 1st of 2021. And like, I appreciate the applause there, but I want to tell you what happened in doing that. What happened in doing that is my husband ended up doing it with me. I didn't ask him to at all, but he just wanted to support me in the beginning. And then it was about May. And I go, why are you doing this? Like, what is it for you? Like, I know my motivation, but what is it for you? Honest to God, his answer was, my insides feel really good. He's like, I feel so good, but I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. Here's also what happened. We made more money than we ever made in the past 2 years. We doubled the size of our house. I've lost 20 pounds and kept it off completely easily. And all those dreams that we talked about on Friday night, we have either put them in motion or already achieved them because I eliminated the distraction. But the way I eliminated distraction is I had to change my thoughts around it. That's really what it came down to. So, I realized that I needed to create a life from a life I didn't want. So for so many years, for 13 years, I worked in corporate America. I started in sales in the mortgage industry. Everyone knows that's been a journey. So I started in sales, and then I worked my way up to being a branch manager of a mortgage company. And it was fantastic, and I had all the things. So I had this 6-figure corporate job. I had the cool office. I have an amazing marriage. I have these 2 beautiful, healthy daughters. We have a nice house, and I lost myself in the process. Can anyone relate? You achieved all the things on paper. I did all the things that I was supposed to do. On the outside, if you looked at it, it looked like I did everything. But I felt like the shell of a person walking around in this life Megan created, but I didn't know who Megan was in the process. So I had to go on this journey to figure out who the hell I was at 35 years old. I'm not done. Is that a timer? You're like, the big hook comes and pulls you off stage? Because here's a look at my life. That's my husband, Nick. He's a collegiate baseball coach. He's a head baseball coach at Cabrini University near where we live. So that's why everything is about decisions and discipline and responsibility. He's a coach, that mindset. These are our 2 beautiful daughters. Cody she's a Harry Potter fan. Anybody like kids, big, huge Harry Potter fans? She's got her whole family reading so much more, huge Harry Potter fan. She's 10 years old. And then my daughter, Devney, she is 7, and she is the second child. Does anybody know that one? Yeah. Are you the second child? Yeah, hell yeah, I'm the second child. Mel, my sister-in-law. She's a total second child. They're fantastic. They keep me on my toes. But all of a sudden, I created this life, but I didn't know who was walking around in it. I even had a moment where I was in the grocery store, and I'm shopping, and I'm like, do I even like the things I'm buying? Do I like Taco Tuesday, or is that just what you do? I literally just walked around the grocery store for like an hour, because I was like, I don't even know who I am anymore. So this is the journey that I went on. In 2017, I became a corporate refugee. Anybody do that? Or you want to do that with this business? Everyone's like, what's a corporate refugee? Okay, so I self-proclaimed that. I quit my corporate job. I was like, I am done with this. I can't do this anymore. And it was bad timing. I shouldn't have quit my corporate job. But I just couldn't do it anymore. But I had faith and trust in myself to figure it out. I quit in November, and November 1st, we bought a new house and started a remodel, and I quit my job on 17 days later. So I'm saying the timing was not terrific. 2018, I'm trying to build my coaching business because I truly believe that I could help other women go through what I went through, like get them to the other side of it, meaning their mindset, meaning helping them grow a business, whether it was a network marketing business or a bakery business or whatever it was. I am going to give you the strategies of everything I've learned over these years, and I'm going to help you get to where you want to go. Well, in 2018, when I'm building my business from home, I liquidated my 401k to help pay for everything, to create this life that I see in my mind, but I never felt like I was enough. If I worked, it wasn't enough. If I posted on social media, I never did it enough. If I was messaging prospects, it wasn't enough. If I was with my husband, it wasn't enough. Like my kids, wasn't enough. Everything, I felt like I just was not enough. And 2018 was really hard. But you know the one thing that I did? I got up and I did it every single day. I showed up for myself, for my family, even if I was like picking myself up off the floor because I had just been crying in the fetal position going, what did I do? Why did I leave a 6-figure job? I can't believe I just did this. But I would show up and I would do it, and then I would cry, and then I would do it. And then in 19, things started to pick up for me in the summer. I started to get speaking engagements like this. People started taking notice in me. People liked me. They thought I was cool. They'd ask me to come speak. And then I joined forces with people, a very good friend of mine. Many of you may know. His name's Bob Heilig. He's your virtual upline. So, yay, woo! I'm the director of coaching for your virtual upline for Love, Serve, Grow. Him and I have known each other for 20 years. He was my upline in 3 different network marketing companies. So I had always followed him, and he's like, you're doing this coaching, I'm coaching, why aren't we doing this together? So I joined forces with him. That was in October of 19. March 8th of 2020, I turned 40, and 5 days later, the world shut down. I am convinced that I turned 40 and the world went to shit. It was all my fault. Seriously. I'm not joking, that's always my thing. January of 21 is when my alcohol-free challenge begins. And I say alcohol-free because sober didn't resonate with me. People go, are dairy-free, they're gluten-free. I just went alcohol-free, and that's what resonated with me. July of 21, I became a certified life coach through the Life Coach School. May of 22, I finally hired the editor and publisher after 5 years of talking about it. And May 3rd, my first book finally comes out. So that's a little bit about me. But this was the biggest part of all of it. In those 6 years that you just saw there, the main thing that I learned, it's discomfort. Discomfort is the currency of your dreams, and this is where people fail because we don't like to feel uncomfortable. You're trying to build a business, you're trying to go take your life in a different direction. Discomfort is what you have to lean into, and that's what's going to get you there. How many like being uncomfortable? That was like an awful giggle. Everyone's like, it's uncomfortable even laughing at that, Megan. Oh, sorry, too quick. So let me ask this. When you started your Zyia business, and this is audience participation time, when you started your Zyia business, how did you feel? Scared. Go ahead. What did you? Excited, scared, unsure, nervous. All of these feelings is what you're feeling when you first start the business. But there is one feeling that every single person in this room had when you started your Zyia activewear business, and that's the word hope. That's why you start a business. It's a hope to solve a problem that's in your life. And you might not even see it as a problem. You're like, I just really like the community of people. You like to be surrounded by fun, exciting people that are forward thinkers, that are like-minded people. Maybe that's why you started the business. But you're hopeful maybe that you don't have to return back to work after maternity leave. Or hopeful that you can become a corporate refugee and quit that soul-sucking career that you have.
Hopefully somebody else comes up.
Hopeful to be able to just pay for your clothing and you don't have to tell your husband about it. But you start with this hope inside of you. Every single person has it. And then what happens? You launch your business and you have a party and you are so excited and you invited all these people and you've done all the work, and who shows up? Your mom, your sister, and your best friend. Anybody have that happen? So you have 3 people show up, and what happens to that hope now? It starts to shrink. And then what happens? You start messaging people on Facebook, you start talking about it, and someone's like, no, I'm not interested, those leggings are too expensive, I can go to Old Navy, I can do this. They say no, they ghost you, and your hope just starts shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Then what happens? You start thinking more about your business than actually taking action in your business. How many people think about their business all day long? How many people take action all day long? Whoop, your hand just went down. So you end up thinking so much about your business, and then you're thinking, is it right for me? Do I really need to do this? My job's not that bad. I mean, we are doing good, and you start to be okay with settling for where it is and not pushing it to grow anymore. So as you're thinking about your business all the time, there's only 2 things that you can control in your life, and that is your thoughts and your actions, right? We want to control our spouses. We want to control our kids. We want to control outcomes of situations. We want to control the weather. My mother-in-law did this weekend. She flew out from here, from Minnesota, to Philadelphia to watch my husband's baseball games and watch our kids, and they got rained out all weekend. So she wanted to control that. She couldn't. But all we have is our thoughts and our actions. So here's a question that I have for you. What is it going to cost you to take action? Why is it that there's so many people out there that you see that can take massive actions in their business, but yet you can't understand why you're not taking action? And I look over at Jill at this because when I was writing this, I was thinking about her. So Jill has a high-stress job. She has 2 small kids at home. She has a house to maintain, the career, the job. Mike has a successful career. But yet she's like, I'm going to start a side business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to do something different. And she's had a lot of success at it. She's worked really hard. She takes action. Action is a behavior. Action is something that you have to do. And this is where, and for me, coaching network marketers now for about 5 years, the biggest thing that I see is that they think about their business and they don't take action in their business. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, is how to really shift your mindset from thinking about it to taking action in it. And I can tell you that if you are here today, it's because you want to make this work. You want it to not just be this side business that you have, and stop calling it a side gig or a side hustle. This is a business that you are running. And when, there you go. And when you can shift the mindset from making this a hobby to a business, you will see a complete shift in how you handle it every single day. Okay? So let's answer this question. What is it going to cost you to take action in this business? It is going to cost you maybe getting up earlier, staying up later, time with your family. Might have to miss some parties. You're going to take a Saturday afternoon to not be with your families and your friends. Well, you're here with all your friends, so. But you always think about, what is it going to cost you to take action in your business? You spend so much time thinking about the business, thinking about what I got to do, thinking about doing it. But the quality of your life is based on the quality of the questions that you ask. So I challenge you to look at this question in a completely different way. So what if it was, what is the cost of not taking action? Shout it out. What is the cost of not taking action in this business? Where would your life be if you did not take action in this business? Right where it is. It'd be right where it is. But also, are you surviving or are you thriving? Surviving. So many of us are just surviving and we become okay with that. And it doesn't have to be that way. If I can quit alcohol and publish a book, you can do anything. I'm telling you that. So the cost of not taking action is not getting you to the life of your dreams. And it's making that hope that's inside of you just keep shrinking down. Should I smile for a picture? I messaged with her beforehand. I was like, I talk with my hands a lot. And so every picture that people take of me on stage, I'm always like you have your job cut out for you to just really get some good pictures of me because I'm always moving. I'm not Italian, but my hands just go. Oh. So if you are motivated, you are energized, and you are excited, you want to take action, right? The flip side of that, if you're doubtful, you're frustrated, and you're bored, you won't take action, period. See, everything is driven by emotion. And here's what a lot of people don't realize. Everything we do for a feeling. So let's sit there for a minute. We're going to talk about this. Everything you do for a feeling. So let's picture this. You're sitting in your office, you look at your agenda, and it says, okay, Wednesday at 3 o'clock, work my business. Does anybody's agenda look like that? Maybe not that time. It's like, I'm going to work my Zyia business. First off, side note, when you're creating your agenda, never put in there, work my business. You put the result of what you're trying to get out of that hour. Message 5 people. Follow up with the party I had last week. Always put the result that you're looking to get out of that hour, because your brain will look at that and go, okay, message 5 people. Work my business means scrolling Instagram to see who you're going to figure out who to talk to. But everything is driven by an emotion. So you're sitting down to work your business, and you're like, okay, I got to message these 5 people. And then what happens? You go, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. It's cold, it's rainy, it's gray. I want to watch the Ted Lasso that just came out this week. Just want to put on my fuzzy socks. I didn't get good sleep last night because my kid was puking on the floor like happened to them. You just don't feel like it. So you know what happens in that moment? You go do something else that's going to make you feel better. So you're going to go put a load of laundry in. You're going to go like, oh, I got to get out the food for dinner, so I'm going to go do that. And then you know what? I should just do a load of laundry. But if I'm going to do the laundry, I should probably pull off the sheets because those need to get done. But if I pull off the sheets, then how am I going to do that? How many people do this? You go do something different because what's happening? What's happening is you're doing something to feel better in the moment. And there's actually a term for that. And the term is called buffering. Literally, you're buffering. So what are some of your buffering? Mine's Pinterest. I know if I'm scrolling Pinterest, and because I love to cook, so if I realize that I'm on Pinterest and I'm like looking at recipes, I was like, Megan, you're buffering right now. Like, what are you avoiding? Shopping. Shopping, Zyia? What's some other buffering? TikTok. Oh yeah, TikTok and Reels, that's a rabbit hole right there, right? Because it makes you feel good. It allows you to escape your own negative thoughts in your mind and allows you to feel good in the moment, right? But this is just buffering. So now I've messed with all of your heads. So when you go home and you're doing whatever that is, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be working my business right now, but I'm watching TikToks, I'm shopping, I'm doing this. Now you have this little Megan sitting on your shoulder going, I should be working my business. I'm supposed to be working my business. This is what I need to do. Because we do something that's going to make us feel better. But this is where you have to lean into the discomfort and the awkwardness of messaging that person. Because also, you're worried about what the girl in high school is going to think that you haven't talked to in 20 years, but your friends on Facebook, so we're friends. You're worried about, and you sit there and think about what she's going to think when you message her. No? Yes, you do. Come on, that's exactly what you're doing. So you're thinking about that, and then you don't do it, and then you talk yourself right out of it, right? But if you lean into that uncomfortableness, like this is where your business is built, in those small, uncomfortable moments when nobody's around, when you can message that person with confidence, when you can keep showing up, or you can choose to buffer and go do something different. And when you choose to buffer, then you lay in bed at night and you're like, oh, I should have done that. Why didn't I do that? And you beat yourself up in your head. And then you're like, tomorrow I'm on it. I'm doing it. I'm going to message everybody. I'm going to follow up. I'm going to blow this business up. And then all of a sudden you sit down at your desk and you're like, oh, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. Why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? These are the thoughts that go through your head. So let me ask you this, and this is for everybody to really either write this down or think about it, is what is the dominant thought that you have when you're working your business? What's the dominant thought that you have when you're working your business? Everyone's just looking at me like, is it? It's not a trick question. It's not. Is it joy? So when you're working your business, it's always joyful. Yeah, she's doing good. A lot of times when we sit down to work our business, here's what happens. You have these thoughts of like, well, I'm not really a good leader. Nobody's joined my team. And the 3 people that have joined my team, well, they've already quit. And like, I have people, but they're just doing it for the discount for the close. And I've been in this business for 3 years. And I really don't have anybody on my team, so why would anybody join my team? And like, I'm not gonna message that person because they're super successful and they wouldn't wanna join. Is that anybody's conversation going on in your head? Right? These are the dominant thoughts. So what happens here is, oh my things are a little off, but that's all right. What happens here is you have a thought, and the thought could be, I'm not a good leader. Does anybody have that thought? Oh, I saw your hand right there, so come here. Oh, your hand went up first in this big crowd. Come all the way up here. And what is your name?
I'm Ashley.
Ashley?
Yeah.
I saw you do that and I was like, oh, that's me.
What's it?
Well, when you posed and you were like, okay, you want a picture? That's me.
Okay.
Anyway, keep going.
Okay, so you have a thought that you're not a good leader. Why do you choose to think that thought?
Because of results that have happened, maybe.
Okay. Can everybody hear her? Or did Mike?
Oh, God, I don't even know.
Yes, she does.
This
Take-
is all part of
take
my
a drink.
presentation.
Take a drink.
You didn't know you were part of my presentation, did you?
I saw this and turned around and was like, you guys, we know what that is.
Oh, I'm gonna do it a little different though. She doesn't even know.
Oh, I don't.
Woo! Suspense. Okay, so what is your thought? Your thought is I'm not a good leader. So notice how I phrase the question. Why do you choose to think that thought?
I don't know. Just like my team isn't reaching a certain number or we're not getting the results that we want. You know, like I'm just telling myself all these
You can talk into
stories.
the mic. You
Oh,
don't gotta-
sorry. I talk with my hands too.
That's why you got to use one of these.
Yeah.
You can freely.
No, I said like my team might not be making the group volume that I think, or might not be recruiting the people that we should be, or the things that I think we should be doing, we're not doing, or you're not seeing results.
So how long have you been in your business?
July will be 3 years.
July will be 3 years. How many people are on your team?
30?
Okay. How many are active? Was that a different question?
15.
15 are
Ish,
active.
8, 10 to 15.
3. It's 3.
Something like that, I don't know.
So look at this. When you look at this chart, so this is a thought model. When you look at this chart, so the circumstance in this is you've been in the business for 3 years and you have 27 active members on your team, right?
15.
I was joking. So you have 15 active members on your team. So that is the circumstance. What happens is we always look at the thought of I'm not a good leader and we put that in the circumstance. That's not a circumstance. So you've been in the business for 3 years, you have 15 active team members, and your thought sometimes is I'm not a good leader. When you're telling yourself I'm not a good leader, how does that make you feel?
Defeated, anxious.
Which
upset.
one? It's usually one word.
All of them. Right, Jill? I always have so many emotions. And she's like, pick one. Pick one feeling. Defeated.
So when you're feeling, okay, so the way you work this is like, when you're telling yourself you're not a good leader and you're feeling defeated, what actions do you take?
Nothing. I just sit there and sulk. Like I just don't do anything.
That's an inaction.
I'm
So if I'm a fly on the wall, you're sitting there at your computer, kitchen table, wherever you work from, I'm a fly on the wall, and I see you. What are you doing when you're thinking I'm not a good leader, you're feeling defeated? What do?
I probably try to take action, but it's not the right action.
Is that true?
I don't know what you're looking for.
I'm just messing with you. You're doing awesome. So what happens here in a lot of these is like there's inactions. We're going to start to scroll Facebook. You're like, I'm going to listen to a podcast. That's going to pump me up. I'm going to feel better by doing that. But this is literally buffering. This is what happens in that moment. You're going to look to do something else that's going to make you feel better in that moment. And then what is the result that happens out of all of that? The result is always linked right back to the thought. Negative thoughts, negative results, positive results. Links it right back to the result is that you're not giving yourself the opportunity to be a good leader because now we're not even messaging people because we're sitting here not doing anything because I'm feeling defeated from thinking I'm not a good leader. So it's just this loop that we get ourselves in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're like, okay, I got this, Megan. That makes sense, right? So what do I do now? Now I know I'm defeated. Now I'm feeling like I'm not a good leader. What do I do? Well, we actually just work it backwards. So what is a result in the next 90 days, Ashley, that you want to have in your business?
I don't know. I think you always have the answers.
It's not like all 300 people aren't going to hold you to it. Like this is a breakthrough in your business right
in the
now,
next
Ash.
90 days? I want my calendar full of parties, and I want to add 3 people to my team.
Okay, I'm going to go to Kim and David. What if I said that and they said a calendar full of parties? What would be my next question? How many?
6 to 8 parties a month.
Could you tell I work with them? I'm like, what's the next question you ask? So you want to be specific when you're thinking of the result. So 6 to 8 parties per month
Yep.
for 3 months
Yep.
to add 3 people to your team.
Yes.
Rock on, that's awesome. What action do you need to take in order to book 6 to 8 parties every single month?
I know I need to be having conversations with people and like not buffering and scrolling Instagram reels and finding great recipes because that's what I do. But
Oh, we really are fun. We connect. don't
yeah,
we?
I know. That's what I do.
I got
And
you.
I can tell I catch myself doing it. Like, what are you doing? You've been doing this for 20 minutes. Yeah, just scheduling out that time and getting up early or staying up late. I mean, I wrote that down when you said that.
So
Maybe not spending time with my family, taking the intentional time, writing down those actions that need to be done.
do you make an agenda every single week?
Yes.
Okay. That was a whole other training. That's another one I'll come back for. We could do an agenda training.
I could do better, I'm sure.
No, so the actions, so it's getting very specific in the actions, and this is where the breakdown comes. So we say this, I need to talk to more people. What's that mean? You have to be very specific in knowing, and she said the word in there, I have to become intentional. You have to become very intentional with what it is. Have more conversations. What's that mean? I need to start 5 new conversations every single day in order to book 6 to 8 parties every single month. Like that's very specific for the action so that you know every single day when you sit down, I just need to start 5 new conversations with people. Is that fair?
Yeah. I'm going to do that.
Woo!
Check in
You
with
heard
me.
it.
Keep me accountable.
So listen, how do you need to feel in order to do that?
Hopeful,
Ooh, good word.
confident.
Where'd you get that word today?
I've heard it a couple times. You said it. It was on a slide. Wrote it down. Confident.
Confident. So let's talk about the word confident, and I'm glad you said that.
Sure.
Do you feel confident in messaging 5 people every single day?
Yes.
So what comes before confidence?
Belief.
Courage.
Courage.
I love you. You're my new bestie. Oh, can you share?
I think
Just on weekends?
I think you met my other bestie earlier, so like it makes sense.
Yeah,
This all makes sense.
We're all good friends now. So what happens here is people always say in this spot, well, I need to feel confident. Confidence comes from the past things that we have done. So you can't just sit down and be like, I'm going to be confident about doing something brand new right now that I've never done. You actually have to have courage in the moment to do something you've never done before. So that's where we get stuck is like, I sit down to do this, but I don't really feel confident. I don't feel confident. Like I felt confident for the first 3 days after Basecamp and I was like, woo, this is awesome. And then I get to Thursday and I was like, I don't feel so confident. I don't feel so great. But that's where the courage has to come in because courage in taking a risk and doing something different and showing up every single day, that is where it's going to get you to then message 5 new people every day to get you the results that you're looking for. So in order to be, I'm going to go back to your original word hopeful, what do you need to tell yourself in order to do that?
Just that I can achieve what I want to achieve. Like I can do it.
Cheer her on for that. She can do it. I do this thought model with people all the time, and every single time I work it backwards with somebody, it comes back to the same exact thing that each and every one of us need to tell ourselves in order to achieve that dream that you have in your mind. And that is, I can do it, I am worthy, I am deserving,
Capable.
I am capable. Do you do this too? You're good.
I mean, I've heard it a couple times.
Yeah. But that's what it comes back to. It's the same exact thing for every single one of us. I am deserving, I am worthy, I can do it, I am capable. So all you have to do when you're working these simple 5 words, when you're like, okay, this is what's going on in my head, I have these negative thoughts, I can get them out, then you work it backwards. And this is where people get stuck because we can have so many of these and we call them red light stories that block us from moving forward. We have lots of We have all these stories that block us from moving forward, but then we have to create a new story to keep us going through it. So what happens here is you're like, oh, I feel great. This is fantastic. I'm going home. I'm doing this. Things are all good. And then what happens? Taxes are due. Kids are crying. Husband, the whole house is destroyed when you've gone for a day. Like all this stuff. And you're like, where's this feeling that I had? But it's getting yourself back to writing this out. Okay, I can do this. And if I can do this, that makes me feel courageous. When I'm feeling courageous, I will take action. When I'm taking action, I can get the result that I want. But the biggest piece of the puzzle that people miss in this is doing it consistently, because all of a sudden we will start to buffer. We'll start to buffer. We'll do this for a few days. And then the more we do it, because guess what? When you're messaging 5 people a day, guess what you're also going to get when you do that? Did you say lies? No replies. I thought you said lies. I was like, whoa. I don't know who you're messaging. But all of a sudden you're getting no's and you're getting all this stuff coming at you. But you just have to realize in that moment that God has put this little dream and the seed of hope inside of you. And you just got to stay focused on that, because nobody else can see your dream. Nobody else knows your hope but you. And you just got to keep moving towards that. Just the way where I used to pick myself off the ground when I was crying and show up, and then maybe cry a little more and then show up and keep doing it. So all of a sudden I'm standing on a stage here in front of you. It just, woo! You just, you just have to keep showing up every single time. So that, Ashley, my friend now, is what, and Jill witnessed this whole entire thing. So on your WAMs now, which are weekly accountability meetings, that's where you're coming from. That's the feeling, that's the thought process. You write that on a Post-it, because so many times it's going to come up and you're going to have that negative thought come back and go, oh, I'm not a leader. And actually the thought is really, I should be farther along. Why am I not farther along? I should have more people on my team. But every time you do that, you're like, I can do this. I can do this. And literally what you're doing is rewiring your brain to think differently. But it's doing it consistently, because that red light story is going to keep popping up. And it's never going to go away. Sorry, it's never going to go away. You're always going to have this story come up. But what happens is you condense the time that it throws you off your game. And you can get yourself right back into positive action. So thank you so much for being courageous and coming on stage with me here. I appreciate you for stepping outside your comfort zone and doing that. I love just calling on people, because they're always like, oh no, why did I raise my hand? So before I go into my last slide here, I wanted to share a little, did you guys get value out of this today? Because this time has gone really fast. Was this helpful? Do you guys understand now to go into that part of you? Did anybody have like an aha moment? No aha moments? Oh, you did. What was your aha moment? Yep, yeah. She's like, oh no, me too.
Just all things, because I've had, after you turn 30, you just get super emotional.
I'm known to make people cry. See, that's it.
So, you know, like I felt like this dream of like all the things that I've been talking to with various people around here, and just having like that breakthrough of like I can, because I was caught in that corporate setting for so long and being told always like what to do and like where to go, and this is like fall in line and do this, and I've always known that I'm not that person in a cookie cutter position, and so like I don't know, I just have like one thing to, I don't know, you really hit.
Well, good. Do you believe you can achieve them?
Yeah.
Because what my whole goal in this talk today was to really give you some simple tools that you can implement into your life immediately to take and get results. It really needs to be just simple things that we can add in. And right there, the other part of it was to help you to grow that hope that I know is still burning inside of you for when you started this business, and bring it back to the forefront, because you can have such a good feeling when you're in here and the day's amazing and the music's going and everything is happening. And then you leave here and life happens. But you got to come back to that feeling and the belief that I am worthy, I deserve it, I am lovable, and I can freaking do this business. Like, I can get to the top of this business. If that's your goal. Sometimes it's not somebody's goal. But whatever that goal is for you, and maybe this Zyia Activewear is just an avenue to help you start a nonprofit or do something else. Like maybe that's what it is for you, but know that that is your dream and you're worthy of it. With so many women that I work with, I realize that we just feel like we're not worthy of the things that we dream about in our minds. And I'm here on the stage to tell you that you're freaking worthy of it. You deserve it. You just have to believe it. And if you don't believe it right now, believe this small town country girl that was able to rearrange her entire life, quit a corporate job when I shouldn't have, quit alcohol and releasing a book. Like if I can do that, my friend, you can do anything if you believe it. But you have to step into that discomfort and really lean into it. So when I was in the 5th grade, my teacher pulled me out of class and put me into special reading because I wasn't keeping up with my classmates. And then a couple weeks later, they put me into speech therapy because I said my F like this. Said it at the front of my mouth while I waited till the 5th grade to fix it. I don't know how I went through all those years with a lisp, but I started a story then that I'm stupid. I must be stupid. I can't keep up with my friends. I'm not good enough. I'm stupid. And it wasn't until I was 35 years old that I realized that that was just a story and not a circumstance. I literally viewed my entire life through this set of lenses that I'm stupid. But I also had, because my father is a functioning alcoholic, we had a lot of dysfunction in the family. And because we had all this dysfunction, I'm the youngest of 3, I also felt this need to overachieve so nobody would look. If everybody's looking at me, they're not going to see what's going on over here, right? However, I'm stupid and the need to achieve, you know what that does? They butt heads. And when that happened, guess what happened in me? Anxiety. And I suffered with really bad anxiety for the good part of my life that I never knew what it was. And that's why I used alcohol to numb that anxiety inside of me. And what that leads me to now is when I started to figure out my mind and why I made choices that I made and why I did certain things, that's when I was like, okay, well, I have to lean into the discomfort of learning how to in a healthy way, deal with anxiety that isn't alcohol. I had to learn new skills at a later part of life and realize that I'm not stupid. I can actually achieve things. So my red light story all the time is why it took me 5 years to write a book. Because every time I'd sit down to write a book, all I would say is, Megan, like, you're not smart enough. You're no Mel Robbins. Who do you think you are? You can't do this. And I'm like, no, yes, you can. You have a story to tell because there's so many women out there, just like me, that have a dream inside of them to do something more with their life. Does anybody in here want to do something more with their life? No, let me freaking hear it. Do you want to do something more with your life? That was me. I knew I was meant for more, but I had to overcome so many obstacles in my mind of telling me that I was not enough. Even though everybody around me was saying, like, you can do this, you're good. Everybody around here can tell you it, but you have to believe it. That little hope inside of you, I hope is reignited, and you can now feel that growing inside of you, because that is the belief that you need to take the courage to take that next step for what you know is right in your life. And that is growing this business. Maybe it's another decision that you need to make, but have the courage to do it. And it's not going to be easy. Quitting alcohol was not easy for me. Writing a book, not easy. But if I can do it, so can you. Whatever dream that you have in your heart. So, if you would like to, I actually freaking did it. I wrote a fucking book. And like, it makes me like, I am teared up. And today I'm also launching my website. That is a QR code to my website. If you want to read the intro in the first chapter of my book, nobody else has it but Zyia today, the Basecamp. Nobody else has this. Meganspeaks.com gets launched literally right now today. You're the first people to see it. There's a QR code that will take you to the website. And if you are interested in buying the book, it comes out May 3rd. And if you buy the book on May 3rd, please message me, email me. And when you do, my team of people, which consists of the two little blondes you saw on the stage or up on there earlier, that's my team of workers. I will autograph what's called a book plate. Just found out about those. They're actually stickers that you put in your books. There'll be an autographed book for you and a bookmark with a quote from the book. So if you're interested, you could do it that way. But I want to say this, and I've already said it. If I can do it, you can. I hope that hope inside of you is growing and you are ready to go into that unknown part of what you were created for. You were created for greatness, and go step into that direction and do it. So thank you so much for having me out here today. I appreciate each and every one of you. There you go. Oh, don't do that. Where's the music?